This is the Wine and Wellness Week number 101. And I'm your host this week, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host, the one and only, the godfather of nutrition. Welcome back, Joe Messino.
Oh, boy, 101, and this is the final Saturday. This is the big one, and we're pulling out all the stops today, boy.
We got a packed house here at 2419 Baldwick Road. Do you need to be a patient or a customer to come in?
You don't need to be anything but alive. Just come on down. And if you have some dead relatives, bring them with you. Now, come on down because we want to help you. We'll feed you. We'll get you healthy. We've got so many demos going on here today.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited. We have Dr. Jennifer Kabik all the way from Ohio. She's doing the infrared therapy, right, with the energy. Incredible demos going on right here. And what time will you be here, Dr. Kabik? Oh, she'll be here all day.
She's here till close.
The bed is available. And then we have our friends, of course, from Relax Saunas, all the way from Columbus, Ohio, Infrared Saunas. We have the food truck outside ready to go. You can help yourself with free, healthy, organic food. And we are on a mission to make the world healthy. So today, we're going to take that next step because my background is personal training. Joe is a Pennsylvania state champion martial arts, 4-time black belt, and owner of the Messino Doji for over 30 years, right?
Yeah, long time.
So we said we want to bring in some fitness people, athletes of different ages. We have the healthcare professionals coming on soon, personal trainers, bikini competitors, CrossFit. So we're excited to bring them out here in a few minutes. Before we do, we have this young man right here, up-and-coming star, Braden Friend from Moon Township. And thanks so much for joining us today. And he was excited because he's made his world healthy, right?
Yes, sir.
He's on the journey, and he's been so generous to tell his story today. So enough about us. Let's hear about you. So you're from Moon Township. What's your favorite sport? This guy's got the letters already, Joe. I tell you what.
Looking good.
Well,
yeah.
I got to be honest. I think my favorite sport would probably be running. I'm a big track guy. But of course, without swimming, I wouldn't be as good as I am at track or cross country.
Oh, so multiple sports. You do the track and the swimming? Oh, fantastic. What grade are you in?
I am in 10th grade.
Oh, 10th grade, just like my daughter. So 15, 16?
Yep, I'll be 16 in April.
It's incredible. Thanks
Well,
for
he
coming
sure
in.
warmed up to that microphone awfully fast, didn't he?
I'm getting pushed out of the way. It's okay, Joe.
That's good. That's good.
He's like us. He's never met a camera he doesn't like, right? Yes. But with a smile like that, you look like you're ready for Hollywood. So there's a lot of people, especially young people. We want to help everyone out. The days when me and Joe grew up, working out and eating good was enough. But not anymore. We're exposed to an overwhelming amount of toxicity, the stress of the last 3 years with COVID. You add in things like nutritional deficiencies, you guys eating on the run, and then the genetics. So tell us a little bit about your journey in health. Where did this all start?
Well, so when I was born, I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. And for those who don't know, that's a diagnosis that I have a deficient gene. And I have a lot of mucus buildup in my lungs. And so anytime a germ gets caught in my lungs, it kind of stays there and it's hard to get up. And as a cross country runner, I have to have, a lot of oxygen. And one time I was running and I was going downhill and I accidentally injured my leg. And I was able to come down here with Dr. Ross, and he was able to fix me up. And he also, showed me some of this nutritional stuff that I've been able to use. That's helped me with weight training and just getting energy for all my practices and meets.
So you made an appointment with Dr. Phil Ross,
Yep.
our resident chiropractor here, and Dr. Ross is a very unique chiropractor. He's a doctor of chiropractic, but he's also one of the few chiropractors that completed the program. So he's a chiropractic sports physician. So in addition, he is guaranteeing he can improve your golf score without cheating because he's TPI certified. So any golfers out there in the audience, Phil, they're cheering us on. So as a TPI, there they are, all the golfers. So TPI is Tireless Performance Institute. So this guy is the top out there of all chiropractors. So it's really, we're really blessed to have him here. So you made the appointment. And what was the experience like when you came in to see him? He's got great energy right away, right?
Well, so yeah, I felt very welcomed. And, as a teenager, I was kind of expected to be a little more, straightforward. But Dr. Ross was able to actually explain to me kind of in, layman's terms what he was doing, how it was helping. And I thought that was really cool.
And what kind of therapies do you do? Do you do adjusting and maybe laser or muscle work?
Yeah. So I walked in and, first thing he did was have me lay on my front, and he adjusted my back, and that was a really cool experience. It was very satisfying, but he also did some cup therapy, which he explained would
Mhm.
also help me with cystic fibrosis and breathing a little bit because that
Mhm.
opens up the muscles and allows them to breathe.
Right.
Oh, fantastic. And do you recommend any supplements?
Yes. So right now I've been actually religious about taking my BCAs every day when I'm for a weight train and in between workouts.
And how you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
And how long you been since you first started seeing Dr. Ross?
It's been about, I would say, 4 or 5 months, almost half a year.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it's a process, right? It's not an event.
Mm.
You didn't come in one time and your whole world changes, but he helped educate you on the importance of the chiropractic, the supplements, and the food. And now you're feeling great?
Definitely. I think that was the main thing that I really liked about Dr. Ross and Winder Wellness Center.
Well, we appreciate you coming in here today. Any words of wisdom for all your colleagues out there? Because a lot of the kids, your age, they're a little reluctant, or the parents may not feel it's safe or effective. So, what's your recommendation to them?
Come to Winder Wellness Center.
World of Wellness.
World of Wellness, my bad.
Close enough.
That's formerly known as
Formerly known as.
We saw the sign on the
Well,
building. So,
I have something for you. Now, cystic fibrosis, I know a little bit about,
Okay.
and I know about the aspect of the mucus and breathing and oxygen and how important it is. Well, we happen to have a supplement here that is by far the best in the country when it
really?
comes to increasing oxygen utilization in the body. So I have one question for you. Would you rather have a liquid or a chewable?
I'll have to go with the chewable.
There you go. DMG, everybody. Dimethylglycine. This is made for someone like you, and it's going to help you. Thanks for coming up here and
Thanks so
doing the
much for having
interview,
me.
and that's for you.
Thank you. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
great thing is, let's hear it for the young man. Kevin, whose birthday is today, is going to give you a birthday present. He's got a nice care package he's putting together for you as a small thank you. And, we really appreciate you coming out because as we help make the world healthy, it's important about education. And a lot of younger athletes now, I think with the toxicity you talked about, right? The nutritional deficiencies, the genetic predisposition that you suffered with. And we're actually able to biohack those things, including genetics, with some of the unique ingredients. I mean, this DMG looks like just a vitamin, Joe.
Yep.
5 U.S. patents on it, including modulating the immune system and the treatment of autoimmune conditions.
That's right.
So those are the types of nutrients that we are utilizing at the World of Wellness, formerly known as Winder Wellness Center. And that's the kind of results you can get. So if you're interested, you can come down. We are open. It's an open house today. It's all free. If you want to make an appointment, call the office, 412-922-9355. That's 412-922-WELL. So I know you young people have your own show, Joe, unlike us who had to beg to get on TV or the radio. So you want to promote your Instagram, your TikToking, Facebook, Snapchat.
I got to be honest. I don't have any social media
Oh,
right
I
now.
knew
except
I
for
was.
Snapchat.
My daughter and his daughter make
Not
up
yet.
for you. So
Not
yeah.
yet. They'll be banging on your door coming up here.
All right. So when does the season start so we can go root you on at Moon Township?
Well, so I have a pretty busy week of meets coming up. So our first track scrimmage is on Wednesday, and then we have another meet at Mars on Friday.
Well, a
So-
great thing, the DMG Chewable, a little secret, triathletes use these.
That's
You
right.
can take them before your event and even during the event. If you have multiple events going on where you have a little break, you can pop another one or two. They're like little candies. So might be your secret weapon this year.
Yep.
Well, I have a triathlon coming up on Sunday, so thank you. I'll be able to
Oh,
there
use
we
that.
go.
And
See,
when you
that's how it
win,
works.
we want you to come back with a testimonial.
I will.
And I think my son can find some World of Wellness gear for you.
Oh,
Okay.
there you
Oh,
go.
thank you
Good,
so
all right?
much.
All right. Thanks again, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Best
Thank
of luck.
you.
We appreciate you
Thank
guys
you so
coming
much.
out today. So there you have it. Young man's been helping himself with cystic fibrosis, and he's going to set some
Wait.
records this year. So
All right.
thanks so much
We'll
for
see you.
coming. Have a great season, and God bless.
Thank you so much.
Oh, awesome, buddy.
Good job.
You're great, man.
Thank you so much. I
Let's
really
get a
appreciate
picture
it.
with me, you
Sure,
and
of
Joe.
course.
Right?
So,
Yeah, well, that too.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you so much.
awesome.
Triathlete. Wow.
Yeah, it does it all.
Impressive.
Oh, that was the other thing I use. I've been using like a lot of the whey before, like after I go into the weight room, try to build up muscle that you guys have here.
Can you grab some of the products from? There you go.
All right.
Take care of him. Yeah. All
Thank
right,
you so
buddy.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Are we pulling more people in because we're
Yeah.
still live?
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Bring him in.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. If we can fit them all in at once, so I'll bring them in. Maybe you can slide off for a minute. All right, you guys ready? Yeah, come on in. Jason, come on in. Yeah, come on.
I guess I probably don't need my notebook here.
Yeah, you can use it. Put it right here. All right, we're still rolling, folks. We're live at the World of Wellness. This is our fitness day. Come on in, Jason. Maybe slide the camera back a little bit. We're live at the World of Wellness. This is in the legacy of Dr. Weiner. We call it the Weiner Wellness Week. We do these 5 times per year. And the whole idea is so you can have a wellness experience. And when we've been doing these events, it's always started with chiropractic and nutrition. And now all the years we've evolved, they say you go where to you started, right? And I've gone full circles because my background and passion back in the 1970s, before these young people were probably born, when I first got exposed by my big brother to pumping iron, my whole world changed. So I've always had a passion for fitness. And what it really did is it gave me a lot of confidence and self-esteem that I can actually make a difference. You know, growing up back then, they call you stocky and husky, but it was really fat, right? But, you know, being solid, but not knowing that the diet and training can actually change it. So we're collaborating with our team at World of Wellness, we said we got to bring some experts in. So we're so blessed and fortunate to have some experts that I know and some new ones I'm meeting now. But we have Marcia here, we have Heather, and we have Jason. Jason is a certified personal trainer who trains people at AmeriFit. Heather is a competitor in the NPC, soon to be possibly the IFBB. And Marcia comes to us as another competitor for the MPC. So maybe you guys could just introduce yourselves a little bit about what you do and your training.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Marcia. As Jamie has mentioned, I grew up in Loretto, central Pennsylvania. I live in Bridgeville now, so I'm a first-year NPC competitor. I'm also a mom, soon to be of 3. Just found out we're expecting here. But yeah, really excited. I guess my journey started as a marathon runner. Ran Boston Marathon in 2010, but I've always kind of just been into the gym. Went to the gym to just lift weights because I thought I would get strong. Also just spent a lot of time running, and it really inspired me. The year I ran the Boston Marathon, a really good friend of mine did her first fitness competition. And it was so inspiring to me. Like, I thought I just needed to get fit by running. And I see my friend completely transform her body by just focusing on her eating and weightlifting. And I was hooked.
It's amazing when you can see the changes, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Any recommendations for somebody who says, I don't look like her? It came so easy for her, right?
Yeah.
That's what we typically hear, right, Jay? It's like, oh, if I had her genetics, right? So you can share a little bit about that because it's not always easy. It takes a lot of work.
It does, yeah. And as a mom and a full-time sales rep, I cover a huge territory. I think really just focusing on what's important, and that's the nutrition. Supplements are really helpful, but they don't get you all the way, but they get you really close, right? So focusing on time management and knowing that you can do it no matter what, right?
Yeah, so your background was long distance running, right? Mm-hmm. And now you transition over time. So I always say during different stages of life, your goals change.
Yeah,
and that's where you need to rely on a professional like Jason to help you overcome some of the challenges you may face. So how about yourself, Heather?
So, hi, Heather Southern. I'm originally actually from West Virginia, and I moved up to Pittsburgh probably about 10 years ago now. So my background, I always played volleyball. I played softball. I did every sport that I possibly could. So I was always in the athletic field. In my journey, I was not a runner. I did not enjoy running at all. So I tried to find any athletic opportunity to avoid that. So weightlifting was always.
I'm not. Yeah, I could tell with my legs. Not a big runner. Yeah.
Well, I would say weightlifting was always something that I really enjoyed, and I got away from it for a while because I think there was a point in time where it just wasn't something that, at least in my world, that women were supposed to do. You want to maintain this small, lithe little look. And weightlifting, obviously, now we know it's going to get you there and get to that result. But when I got back into weightlifting, I actually started down the whole journey for competing because I wanted to get ready for my wedding. I wanted to look good for my wedding. Those pictures were going to be around for the next, 30, 40, 50 years, the rest of my life, whatever it ends up being. So started down a weight loss journey, and the individual that I worked with for that was a competitor previously too. So when I turn around, I'm like, you know what? I've already come this far. Why don't we just try? And then that introduced me to the whole world of bodybuilding, and actually where I met Marcia, and I'm loving every aspect of it. So I'm in a build phase and a growth phase, and you never realize how how small you are until you compare yourself to the rest of the ones who are winning on the main stage and the work that you have to do. So it's
Well, that's a great. I'm hearing so many great things you're saying, but I think the biggest thing is, the goals have to be your goals
Yes.
at that time in your journey,
Yeah.
right? Because it changes over time, right?
Yeah.
There may be times you want to do yoga or walking, or you're pregnant, you scale back. Other times you have big motivation, like the wedding day,
Yeah.
and it was like that was my mom's best shape she ever got in for my wedding,
Yeah.
right? And it was, sometimes you need that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like to set goals about every 3 to 4 months. I got 3 weeks left until the beach. I have to work at the beach all weekend, real tough. But your goals change. I think the training has to change. And that's why we invited Jason here. He's one of the top trainers. He's recommended by Dr. Gary Udit of the NPC and IFBB. And he says, I got a guy for you. Gary's got a guy for everything. So I've seen Jason at AmeriFit for a long time. You're helping so many people. So can you talk a little bit about that part of it? Because I think when I became a trainer back in the early 90s, my dad said, are you moving to Hollywood? I said, no, Pop. I said, I'm going to Pittsburgh. He said, nobody would do that. And now training has become so common. But at the same time, there's great trainers like you. So how do they go about even getting to that point?
Well, first of all, my name is Jason
Slide in a
Pree.
little bit. Yeah. You're good. Closer.
AFA and ACS, I'm certified for
There
over
you go.
20 years, and I've been training, plethora of like all different people, competitors, elderly, young, old, whatever. But to answer your question, not every training regimen is for everybody. Everybody has a specific build. Um, you know, Discipline. If they're disciplined or not.
Yeah, time
Time
factors, right?
factors. If they have kids,
Injuries.
what their job is. Yeah, exactly. Injuries. So you kind of have to factor all that in and kind of format a specific plan to what they need, and hold them accountable as well. And push them a lot of times out of their comfort zone to get the results they're looking for. It doesn't come easy, especially at that level. So
Yeah, you bring up some great points because I was training years ago. I actually had a lot of females in their 40s coming to me for prevention of osteoporosis, right?
Right.
Because they had seen their mom or grandma survive. So you can talk a little bit about that, some of the benefits, because everyone usually just says, I want to lose weight, right? But it's more to it. It's more about the health aspect.
Most definitely, especially now since COVID, everybody's very, very health conscious, but not just structurally, but internally too, keeping our cardiovascular system up to par, joint stability, preventative, longevity. They want to do things with their grandkids and their kids and still feel young. So yeah, that's a big component of it all.
So are you accepting new clients now for personal training? I know you're really busy. This guy was in there this morning, 4 or 5 appointments.
Yeah, I am midday. If you're available midday, for sure. Evenings are kind of rough right now, but yeah, midday and early mornings are good.
Yeah, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Call me 412-298-7595 or go to jasonpree.com.
Great. And how do you spell that for people out there?
Paree.
So there you go. You can hire Jason directly. He can help you out. And, when I was training people, I noticed some trainers just wanted to be there all the time for people. And other trainers like you and me would actually help train the people so they can train themselves. Can you share some of your clients that maybe they transitioned, but they touch base with you every now and then for either motivation or accountability? Because some people may be concerned financially, where, hey, let's work with him for a while and then we can go on our own.
I think, that's a big component of a trainer is if you can educate, not only just train your clients, but also educate them to kind of take it upon themselves for doing it to them, training themselves and learning how to use the equipment and structure their own workouts and attain their own goals by themselves, kind of get them started. Some people need the constant motivation, they need somebody spurring them on, through their whole goal approach, but exactly, you need to train them to train themselves.
Well, we're excited today. I'm Jamie Doral, your host. We are at World of Wellness. We're here till 4 p.m. today. We have our fitness day because we're on a mission to make the world healthy. And now more than ever, people are suffering out there. The U.S. is 5% of the world's population, but we come in about 72nd in the world in health. And the model, we're not against medicine, but the model that you use the medicine and surgery first is not working. It really was designed to help with trauma and acute care, but it's been applied to chronic care. And I think COVID really put a spotlight on this, right? Big Brother's not going to help you with chronic conditions. Right. And that's why I always like the lifestyle programs that include not just the training, not just the supplements, or not just trying to lose weight, but really a lifestyle so that you can have a family, right? So can you share a little, Marcia? We're really excited to congratulate you
Thank you.
on your way for your third child.
Yes.
I have 3, don't want a 4th one. The third one sounded like a lot of fun, and it's like, we're done. So I got 3 great kids, and I like the fact that they've all incorporated the lifestyle with them, right? Either in sports or working out, nutrition, whatever it may be, supplements. So can you talk a little bit about being pregnant and still training, and then what supplements do you feel confident to take when you're pregnant?
Yeah. So to me, I feel like just getting in a good routine, whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, or you're a working mom or not a working mom, there's always excuses, right? And it's getting aside from those excuses and knowing, hey, I want to see the results. I got to be dedicated to this. It's a part of my life. It really is my lifestyle. I take a lot of supplements here. Actually, I take your Woman's Complete multivitamin that also has choline in it. That's really important for pregnant mamas. I take the Probozyme probiotic that my kids also enjoy, and I take your Best Whey protein as well.
Oh, it's interesting when you talk about the Woman's Complete because, our thing is always safety first and effectiveness close second, right? So I actually have a client, Dr. Mary Valverde Alice. She's a MD OBGYN fertility specialist out of Georgia. She's also a naturopath. She's one of the only ones in the country. And we met a few years ago. It was like instant connection. And we started working on our prenatal, which has evolved to the Woman's Complete. So this is really designed in a nice, easy to take veggie cap, right? Not a big tablet. And it's got all the active vitamins, the chelated minerals, including things like vitacholine. And there it also has the active folic acid. So we talk about genetics, like we did with the gentleman earlier, young gentleman. So you got to use the right formulations because not all vitamins are created equal, right? Just like anything else. So in addition, in that product, the Woman's Complete, we added a superfood blend, and then we added things in there like the DMG and a lactospore, which is a female research trademark probiotic. So the nice thing, it's an all-in-one. The only thing you could add is extra probiotics or a fish oil. And then tell us about the proteins, because I met this young lady when she was trick-or-treating at my house.
With
She
my
won't
kids,
tell
not
the
me.
story, but I'll tell it. An hour later, her husband came down. Are you guys done yet? She's like, not yet. My wife's come out. Are you guys done? But the power of one more, because she asked one more question. What does NPC on my coat mean, right?
Yeah.
I said, well, what do you think? We're in Pittsburgh. She goes, that's not NPC, but National Physique Committee.
Yeah.
But we met and we were talking, and she had the kids with her, and I started sharing some of the things we're doing. But sometimes just asking that one more question, or now you guys are here, that's that one more. So never diminish your contribution to make the world healthy, right? So one of the big concerns is protein powders, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was taking, my brother's 5 years older, and we were talking about, pumping iron days. But my first protein shake, he said, close your eyes, hold your nose, and just start drinking it. It was like Elmer's glue, right?
Oh, gross.
Yeah, not good back in the days, but they've come so far, and I've been doing this 31 years. The whole idea is to give you what you need without anything else. A lot of proteins will have lactose, which will create gas. A lot of them will have artificial flavorings that we don't want, create a lot of anxiety. So which protein do you like by Nutritional Frontiers?
I actually have I have your vanilla, but I've tried the chocolate as well. Yeah, but it mixes really well. Very good mixability. It tastes great. I mix it with my oatmeal, put it in just my water or in milk. It tastes really good either way. So I really like it.
And any problems with GI issues or anything
No,
like that?
no problems. No.
Okay, great. Well, appreciate you sharing that. So Woman's Complete, very safe through all the stages of life for a female. We also have now the Men's Complete, would be great for, you and some of the clients and stuff. So we fortify the nutrients so that we don't have to take so many different products. Usually the goal is 1, 2, or 3. Hey, Kenny. So that's really where we're going for is the high quality of nutrients. And we do the wellness week so people can take advantage of all the incentives that we offer. So how about
Awesome.
yourself, Heather? Can you tell us a little about first your food program? Because there's no shortage of diets out there,
Sure.
right? And I
Sure.
think people are looking for that quick fix,
Yeah.
right? You know, they come to us, they've been putting on 3 to 5 pounds a year for 10, 20 years. And it's like, well, how quick can I lose it? Right.
Sure.
So we always want to do it in a healthy way. And, you know, you guys are extreme with the competitive bodybuilding. I always say bodybuilding is very healthy until about the last 6 weeks, but you can do it for yourself. You don't have
Sure.
to do it at a competitive level. So what's your philosophy with the food? Because I think people are somewhat a little overwhelmed right now.
Sure, absolutely. And you know what I can say with my history is if there was a diet, then I tried it. Um, so
I like that one. I'm going to
yeah,
steal it.
I would be more than willing to jump into anything that I thought I was going to get results from. So, you know, that just creates a history of not really understanding the food that you're eating and not really looking at it in a way that's going to optimize what you're trying to do. So, what I am doing now is I follow macros. So, I'll weigh my food, I'll pay attention to what's going on. And then,
Macros, you guys say it so commonly,
okay.
but macronutrients are larger. So that's generally protein, carbs, fat, and
Yes.
fiber, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. So, what I'm able to accomplish with that is just get a general understanding of my food and specific to my goals and what I need to build. So, when I'm looking at my day to day, obviously, when you're trying to build muscle or you're just trying to be healthier in general, you want to make sure that you're getting enough protein, which can go back to the protein powders. One thing with my parents that I've been talking to them about is making sure that they have enough protein because when we're looking at the day to day, and obviously they're getting older, they're not really prioritizing that as a macronutrient. They're prioritizing more like the Reese's cups or the Fritos or any of the other things that just taste good. And obviously, you can still build those in, but you need to pay attention to what you're doing with it. And then carbs obviously help fuel your exercise, gives you the energy that you need. Fat helps with your hormones and protects everything within your body. And making sure it increases satiety, all kinds of different signals with it. So when you have that understanding, and if you start with just even logging your food, so the people that haven't looked at these or they want to know what to do, I can tell you that's what led to bodybuilding for me. I was tired of dieting. I was tired of feeling like I didn't have the power to be able to change what I wanted to change. And then I jumped both feet into this world, and it's given me such an understanding to where I know now that I can not only help myself but help other individuals if they just have general questions with it, and it all comes with that general understanding.
Well, I love it because I'm hearing the macronutrients, right? And a lot of people are, you know, they'll come to me and say, "Oh, you know, I don't want to have any fat or carbs are bad." But you're telling me and us benefits of all the macronutrients, right? And that's the part I love about the lifestyle is that you're not going to do something extreme. So what I always tell people is protein is really the building block of all tissue, not just muscle. If you're worried about putting on too much muscle, do you have any advice for them?
You won't.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. People
You
would say,
won't.
"Oh, I don't want to get too much muscle." I said, "Don't worry, we're okay."
Yeah.
I said, even if
absolutely.
you want to, it takes years
It
and you
takes
never have too
time.
much. So protein's a building block of the brain, the eyes, the skin, the hair, the nails, muscle, everything. So you need adequate protein. You don't need too much if you're not training at an elite level, but always about a half of, you know, I say about, you know, for every pound, maybe a half a gram, right?
Yep.
So you add up if you're 200 pounds, maybe 100 grams of protein is a good starting block. So a half up to a gram per pound of body weight. Just some
Absolutely.
general recommendations. Now, Jason, I want to talk to you on this one, the carbs and fat, right? Because I always say those are energy,
Yes.
right? But we've been told carbs are bad. Remember what they did when they did, you know, in the old days, it was fat free, right? And then people got really fat. And then they said carbs are bad. So they're confused, right?
Right.
Because the worst thing to do is go no carbs and then add them in because then you blow up. So
Correct.
what's your philosophy on it? Because it gets very confusing.
Carbs, you know, you think of it like an as needed type food. So if you're going to be, if you have a sedentary job, you're going to be, you know, in a kind of a rested state for a long period of time, you might not want to load up on energy or carbs or fats as well. But if you know, for instance, like a heavy leg day that you're going to be expending a lot of calories, you're going to need that boost of energy. That's when you would want to kind of load up. But overall, you'd want a little bit of a balance, you know, throughout your everyday life with some kind of energy source. It just kind of depends on your expenditure, what your daily expenditure is.
Well, I love it. He's sharing with you a great tip right here, folks. Don't forget, eat for your activity you're going to do, not eat for what you just did, right? 'Cause I think a lot of people, oh, I did a great workout, then they want to overeat. So
Right.
it sounds like eating for the energy expenditure for the activity.
Correct.
It could be yard work. It could be hiking with the kids. It could be for a grandparent taking the kids out for the day, right?
Right.
So eat those carbs, but eat a limited amount of what you need. What about after the workout or after the activity?
That's when the protein comes into play for rebuilding and repair. And again, some carbohydrates to kind of give you the boost back to get back to your daily activities, what you have to do post workout, but not to overload unless you're going to do something crazy like run a marathon or whatever your daily activities are, whatever your job requirements are. I know a lot of guys do construction and they're still doing bodybuilding and things like that. So they need a steady supply of carbohydrates. Some people go right back to the desk and they sit down in front of their computer. So they don't need that high
Yeah,
boost
so
of
you can
energy.
adjust your carbohydrate
Exactly.
intake,
As
right?
needed. Yes, definitely
Yeah, as
needed.
needed. So the point is that it's energy. So what happens if you take too much carbs and you're not burning them off? That can happen, right?
Most definitely. You're going to store them.
Yeah.
You're just going to store them. You're going to sit on them. You're going to store them. And, most of the time, more often than not, carbs taste better than protein. So, your tendency is to overload a little bit as well. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, and then when you look at it overall, people have a propensity to overeat the carbs. And I was listening to my friend's podcast recently, Dave Palumbo on RX Muscle, and they were talking about not only is that the issue, but if your carbohydrate tank is full, which you can't hold a lot anyway, maybe 600 grams roughly. So if your tank is full, what happens to any fat you eat? It tends to get stored as fat, right?
Correct.
So that's ways you can actually manipulate some of your carbohydrate intake and then stimulate that. So if we want to burn fat, what's your philosophy? Do you do nutritional programs for your clients too?
I do. And again, it's different for every client. Again, it's all contingent on their lifestyle, what they got going on. A lot of people these days have desk jobs, or they're in front of the computer, they're Zooming, they're more sedentary than they've ever been. So, you kind of adjust accordingly. But it's basically, according to their activity levels, what their intensity is in the gym, what their goals are, all factors into their overall macro intake.
Yeah, and a lot of people get caught up with calories, right? How many calories I need? I says, look, count chemicals, not calories, right?
Yeah.
Because you're eating chemically loaded food, it doesn't matter the calories, right? So what's your thoughts on that, guys? We'll go around the horn, but calories versus the quality of food. Marcia?
Yeah, I mean, a candy bar is going to have more calories than a protein shake, right? So to me, I look at calories from a standpoint. I also have a coach. Heather and I are with the same.
Who's your
coaching
coach?
group.
You want to promote your coach?
Yeah, we're with Pro Physique. They do lifestyle and they do bodybuilding coaching. So
Where are they out of?
they're out of Florida, but they do a lot of their stuff virtually.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So Pro Physique, they can look them up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So for calories for me, I mean, obviously I'm expecting a baby and I'm still doing the bodybuilding thing and I'm pretty active. So I need more calories than what somebody does that's just sitting around. But I do try to focus around whole foods. About 85% of my diet is based around whole foods.
Well, that's a great point because it's not just the calorie, it's the quality, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, you might be able to eat a lot of those Snicker bars at trick or treat, right? But how much broccoli could you eat at once, right? Because of the fiber and the nutrients. So be careful of the calories. Now, of course, you can't overeat even good food, right? But it's very challenging to overeat the veggies and things like that. How about yourself, Heather? I know you've been transitioning to the bodybuilding world.
Yes.
When's your next competition?
I don't have a date yet.
Oh, we don't have a date. Is she holding out on this, Marcia?
Maybe.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm very excited to go to stage next time, but I'm not sure yet exactly when that's going to be. But when I think about the nutrients in the food, and obviously when you're looking at Snickers versus broccoli, you hear a lot of people saying a phrase too with if it fits your macros. Well, there is some point to that, but the other thing that I've learned within just general life, but bodybuilding too, is you have to find stuff that feels good for you. So, that could be maybe you pay attention to your food enough that dairy doesn't sit well with you, or maybe you need the vegan protein powder versus the whey, or maybe you do better with the leaner meats or the chickens or whatever it ends up being. But you're not only fueling yourself for the calories to, just to eat, but to really do the things that you need within your body to make sure that it fits and feels good with you. So then you're avoiding all those nasty little issues like the bloatings or any of the problems that you can end up having, which obviously there's supplements to fix, but paying attention holistically
Oh
to the
yeah,
food to
it
begin
always
with.
starts with food. You bring up some great points. So if it fits with the macros, is that what you said? I had a flashback. I had a client at the Rivers Club, 1994. He comes in with his log. I says, "What's this 4 ounces of vodka?"
Yeah.
He says, "I had the calories left."
Yep.
I says, "Oh, you son of a gun, you got me right." So I'm not a big believer in that. I guess a lot of people, I feel it's taking an easy way out. My buddy used to eat Pop-Tarts. He had a really fast metabolism. I said, imagine if you ate the sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
right? So you can manipulate it all you want, but I think really to maximize it, you should choose foods that come from the ground,
Yes.
from the earth, and the whole food as much as possible,
Yeah.
right? Because the more you sneak those things in there, I think the less results you're going to
Yeah.
get. So what about you, Jay? I know you've been working with people on this type of thing for years.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And for newbies, it's tough. Like you're changing their whole philosophy on everything. So if somebody's been pounding junk food most of their life, you have to take real subtle approaches. And start phasing things out incrementally, as opposed to just pouncing on them with everything all at once. They freak out. So, and a lot of people have food addiction. So you got to be really careful on how you approach that. But definitely, the more nutritional foods give you energy longer, less sugar, less preservatives, less effects on the body, better results. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah, I love how you put that because, when people are eating those types of foods, they don't feel as good, right?
Right.
However, a lot of these foods are addicting. I mean, the commercial even says you can't eat just one chip.
Right.
These biochemists are paid millions of bucks to get people addicted, right? So I always like to do, even for me this year, making the comeback again. But I always like to get leaner in the spring and summertime, So after the holidays, which I partake in a little bit more food than I like to, I start cutting one thing out a day. So can you tell us about how you do that for your clients? Because sometimes it can be overwhelming, right? They come in here and we want to get them from kindergarten to their, college graduation overnight. So we always say at the World of Wellness that it's a process, not an event. So what are some of your tips of the trade that you like to share with people to help them overcome those things?
The first thing I think would be portion size. Not changing so much what they're eating, mainly just portion
The volume,
size.
right?
Exactly. Just sparsing out food throughout the day, and trying to shut off late night eating. And that would be step one. And then incrementally start phasing out, looking at what they're eating, have them list it, and start phasing out one thing at a time, like you were saying, to where you can.
And you can even slow down things, right?
Exactly.
If they're drinking, some people come in there drinking 10, 12 Cokes a day. I'm not exaggerating.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't go to zero. They'll be really sick, right?
Right. Right.
So maybe going down and adding in some water and substituting, right?
Exactly.
What about, I want to go around the horn because, when I was dieting years ago, back then it was just called a friend. Now it's a coach. But my guru is Timmy DeLuca. And I said, Timmy, I'm having these cravings. He says, good, you're following the diet. I says, what do you recommend? He says, two things. One was lemon juice or suck on a lemon. He said, you can't have a sugar craving after that. And the other one was natural nut butters or a small hand. I can't do the nuts. I'll eat too many. But a little of the natural peanut butter. Now we have things like nuts and more. So that's one of my little tricks is drinking some water and then a little bit of nut butter or a lemon just to kind of take the edge off. How about yourself? You don't get cravings?
There's questions on cravings. Do you guys
Yes.
know I'm pregnant right now?
Well, yes, she
all
gets
kinds of
them.
cravings. I think also this is the best I've ever felt being pregnant, and really it's just from a healthy lifestyle and really focusing on what I'm eating. But look, if I have a craving for a donut, maybe I indulge in half of a donut or I indulge in a bite of a donut, but not a 6-pack of donuts, right? So I think also it's focusing on if your body is craving something, it's probably because you're lacking something, right? I mean, I've noticed a lot of times when I'm craving peanut butter, it's because I haven't gotten good quality proteins in or enough protein in. So I give into the cravings a little bit, but I just don't overdo it, right?
Well, that's a great point. Making sure your body's got the nutritional content already being fulfilled, because when you're having those cravings, a lot of time it's protein. If you're cutting back on carbs and fat, you're probably gonna be craving some fats, right, for some energy. So I love that little tip there. Thank you. How about yourself, Heather?
So When I think back for cravings, obviously recently in the last year, going through the prep phase and then going through the reverse stage of the bodybuilding, especially in reverse, whenever you start bringing back some
Is
things that
that the
you
rebound phase?
well, kinda, yeah. So the reverse is obviously taking your body from that low percentage of body fat that you were at for stage and into your day to day. So you're manageable, your healthy weight, the body fat percentage, and the life that you just want to maintain. So after when you think about depriving yourself or you have those cravings and you now you're allowed to do it, well, that can get you in trouble very, very quickly. So to the point of what Marcia was saying, it's not always a sense to where you have to deprive yourself of everything that you want, but maybe if you want so specifically, maybe if you want a Snickers, maybe you find a healthy way to do it. Maybe you look at dates and peanut butter, the Whole Foods peanut
Well,
butter,
I'm
and
glad you brought that up. My beautiful wife up here, Kristen, she makes the Rice Krispie treats with
yes,
the Super Shake.
yes,
She also makes the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
yes.
That's my favorite. One of those will take the edge off. We have the new recipe books here at World of Wellness and our website. In addition, you can make all the different smoothies.
Yep.
So I love, of course, the new one we have is the purple haze,
Yeah.
right? So nice berry flavor. But you can have fun with this. You know, I have cravings sometimes for, and especially in the winter for pancakes. Reminds me as a kid on Sunday we'd have pancakes. So now we have the protein pancakes.
Which are
You
phenomenal.
get 50, yeah, up to 50 grams of protein, good fats and things. So you can use some substitutions too.
Yes.
So I love that advice. And now we got the recipe books. So you got to make it fun too,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And if it's, you know, we had birthday party here today. If it's someone's birthday, that's not the time, you know, to cut everything out, right? You can make a healthier version or you can have that little bit, but it doesn't mean that bad meal should be a bad day.
Correct.
And if it's a bad day, don't make it a bad week. And
Correct.
Jason, if it's a bad week, don't make it a bad month,
That's
right?
correct. That's correct.
So what
yeah.
are some of your tips on cravings? Because this is real world stuff, right?
Yeah. Cravings, obviously when you're training for a contest,
Yeah.
you don't have that luxury. So like chewing gum is really good. And I always tell like competitors, especially when they're first starting out, if you have a craving, get it in your hand and put your contest suit on and get in the mirror and then take a bite of it and see how,
Oh,
see
I
how
like
you
that
feel.
tip. That
You know,
one hit home, man.
Yeah, so you might want to, you'll put it down for sure then. But I think it's very reasonable. Like have a bite of something if you're craving something. Be realistic. Give yourself a break, especially if you've been working really hard and you're doing a good job. A small reward, but just don't overdo it because sometimes that's a slippery slope for some people. I would say the biggest thing for craving for pushing back cravings is to make sure that you're hitting your meals. Like
Yeah.
you don't miss a meal to where you're overeating. So if you do have a little bite of something, you're not going to overeat it.
Well, you bring up a great point. You read my mind because, we hear a lot about quality of food, right? We're all on the same page. We need good quality vegetables. We need lean proteins. I prefer fish and chicken. Some of you guys and girls may do meat or eggs, turkey, those types of things. And we understand good fats, right? So I think the quality we understand, right? We talked a little bit about portion control, so people realize that. But the part that I learned that really changed my world, especially from bodybuilding, and I have so many people to thank. That's the other thing about this is, working with trainers and competitors like this is you meet so many cool people. As you guys met, we met like this, right? Gary Udit, I met him at a posing clinic in 1991. Yeah, I said, who's this old guy? He was about 30, right? I said, why would he come up here and help us? And then the power of one more. Here I am, over 30 years later, still friends with him, right? And that's how we met. But we hear about quality. We hear about quantity. We don't hear a lot about timing. I know the intermittent fasting is a big thing right now, but I was with someone recently, a doctor, and he had the first meal. He had chicken wings. I'm like, Doc, this isn't how this works. He says, I'm losing weight. I only eat one meal a day. I said, what about your dinner with your family? I don't do that anymore. So I was like, oh, this isn't going to work, right? So let's talk about timing. I was always taught, 3 by 3 and 5 by 9. 3 meals, snacks, or shakes by 3 p.m. and 5 by 9 p.m. And when I was competing, it was 6 to 8 meals and snacks a day. And really small so that you give the body what it needs to break down and it can tolerate it, because I look at the metabolism like a fire, right? You have a fire out back, the kindling, the paper and the kindling and stuff, that's like sugar. It burns really high and then it goes out. Not a good strategy. If you put the big log on too quick, that's like Thanksgiving meal, right? It's like, lights out, time for bed, digestion is done. But if you get that metabolism cooking like you guys do, right? You can keep putting the wood on there. If you put a little extra on, it will burn it up, right? So the timing, I think, is something we don't hear about a lot. So what's your philosophy on timing of the meals?
Yeah, so this is just my perspective because I work with a coach. I do a lot of research and ask a lot of questions. And I use MyFitnessPal to track in a healthy way, right? So I can keep track of what I'm eating. I'm an early gym goer because I do have 2 kids and a busy lifestyle. So I typically will eat 3 meals and then 3 to 4 snacks a day. So I try to eat every 2 hours just to keep myself full, keep myself away from those cravings that I might have. And I try to focus my protein across those 6 meals. But 3 meals, I try to get at least 20 to 30 grams of protein, 20 to 30 grams of carbs. And then if I have room for that evening snack, I do an evening snack. If I don't, then I don't. So
And when you say meals, this could be a protein shake.
Yeah.
It could be a smaller meal, or it could be a meal, right?
And I do try to get my carbs around, like Jason was saying, around my workout. So in the morning, I'll have a high carb meal, 30 grams of carbs, 20 to 30 grams of protein, get to the gym, come back. And then I do try to get a little bit of protein after that. Protein shake's a really good one then as well. And maybe a couple eggs.
So how about yourself, Heather? We hear so much about quality and quantity. What about timing? I know at your elite competitive level, it may be a little more extreme, but what about for the average person? Any tips out there?
Yeah, so I will say, before I got into bodybuilding, one of the things that I would try to do was see how long I could push in between meals. And obviously, you don't feel good with that. And you hear a lot of people talking about, I skip breakfast, or I skip lunch, or I'm too busy. I'm too busy. I just can't make the time to eat. And I had to learn very quickly you have to prioritize your nutrition. You have to make the time to eat. It is only going to fuel you for later. So I don't do a lot different than what Marcia does on the day to day. So breakfast is actually one of my favorite meals, and it has been the same exact thing for the last year that I've been off stage. And I love the oatmeal. There's so many different ways you can bake it. You can do whatever you want to do. Everything.
If I can hear this again, I got this. Yeah,
Yes,
I've done it a
it's
million
perfect.
times.
But then I do a mid morning too, so I'll do like a 10 a.m. and that obviously keeps me through to lunch. Lunch is something where I make sure that I prioritize protein. It's far enough away from my training because typically I'm in the evening and I seem to have more time then or on the weekends. But maybe you have a little bit more fat around that to keep you full. Then with a pre-workout, you prioritize your carbs. That's when you're going to move. I'm in a desk job all day, so there are plenty of times where I look down and I'm at 2,000 steps for the day, and I'm like, oh man, I have to do all kinds of cardio. And you get up from your desk and you walk around. But just timing's so important because, like you said, it maintains your metabolism and you feel better with it.
How about yourself, Jason? I can hear a lot of people in my head saying, well, I'm not hungry, right?
Yeah, the intermittent fasting, like you mentioned, that's a great tool for starting out. For somebody that's really overeating or eating like 1 or 2 meals a day to kind of shrink things down, but it's really not realistic, especially for a nutritional standpoint. But to sparse your meals, space them out 2 to 3 hours, give your body efficient time to break that down, absorb the majority of what you're eating, and to bridge the gap to the next meal to where you're not overeating. I think the biggest fail with that though is the meal prep. A lot of people that aren't competitors, that are just general public, they don't want to take the time to kind of prepare or plan, and that's where they stumble upon mistakes, or they'll grab something quick, and then it starts the whole downward spiral again. So I think that's one of the biggest things with sparsing your meals out throughout the day is just the preparation of it all. But that's definitely the best way to manage your weight, bring down your weight, and adjust your calories as well.
Yeah, I've noticed even for me personally, when I try to do those things, skipping meals and stuff like that, you're only going to overeat later, right? And then you get home at night, you're stressed out, you're sitting there, you're reading or on the phone or TV, whatever you like to do at night. And then it's like you're hungry, right? And the cortisol's high, and then your cravings are uncontrollable, right? So I love where you guys are educating us. It's the quality, the quantity, but the timing of the food. It's a whole food approach. And, you got to actually prepare for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the biggest thing nowadays, my mom would shop every day because back then that's what you did. You'd shop, cook the meals, and you would eat at home. Oftentimes now people wait till they're hungry and it's too late, right? So I've actually found when you go grocery shopping at Whole Foods, wherever you like, you prepare the meals, it actually cuts your grocery bill in about half.
Yes.
Because if you have eaten out lately, we were talking about this last night. It's like $50 for lunch and 100 for dinner. I'm not going anywhere fancy either, right?
Right.
Talking to 2 or 3 people, right? So it's become very expensive to eat out. So what are some of the stores you recommend locally to go to?
Yeah, I do a lot of meal prepping, like you said, so I make good choices, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, I'm pretty simple. Like ground beef, I try to get 93 or 96% lean. I always have sweet potatoes on hand, good fruits and veggies. I mean, honestly, I like Aldi because I am feeding a family of 2.5. So I eat a lot of food. So Aldi is a pretty good choice for me.
Yeah, I love the competitive bikini or bodybuilders or trainers because they'll go to any extremes. We have Billy Nicole, who's one of our clients from Michigan. She's getting ready for the North American. She's coming to our event in Florida. And she goes, "Don't worry, I have all my food. I'm going to have frozen, packed on the plane,
Yeah.
extra suitcase. Make sure you get the fridge at the hotel." It's like,
Yeah.
I said, "You are ready." She's like, "Well, I'm 15 or whatever weeks out." So
Yeah.
you can be more extreme when you need to, but at least have the food. I said, "Look, when I at home, I always say cook extra. You know, last night was fish. I said, cook extra and I'll eat it the next day for lunch." So that's a little tip I use, especially if you don't have a bigger family. And if you do, cook the extra food and take it with you. How about yourself, yourself, Heather? I know you work an office job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's that like? Because I'm sure a lot of people around you aren't preparing meals.
Oh no, no, they're
Yeah.
not. And we get donuts and cookies and chips and all kinds of things dropped off all day long. But I can say that meal prep for me was a game changer for everything. So personally, we take just an hour or two on the weekend. So we're already cooking dinner for Sunday. Put in a sheet pan of chicken, put in a sheet pan of broccoli, or just whatever is going to end up making a good nutritious meal for you later in the week. And then you can portion it all out, keep it in the fridge, keep it in the freezer, and then you grab and go whenever you're ready. So in honesty, the time that it takes is minimal compared to having that plan, having the preparation in place to know that you're going to be able, you don't have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to figure out what you're going to eat or grabbing something that's not going to fuel yourself well.
Or right here on Fast Food Alley, as
Yeah.
you can tell. I mean, it's hard. I get it. People are hungry. They're going to
Yeah.
stop at one of these places eventually
Yeah.
because the cravings are too much.
Yep.
So you recommend cooking a lot of your meals on Sundays and then you have the extra.
Or when you have time,
Yeah.
yeah. Or to your point, just make a little bit extra during the week, and then you can take it for the next day. And I know that there's a place that we both use up in Cranberries called Clean Eats, and then you can go in and order. You can order meals through the week. You can get stuff out of their freezer, so you really don't even have to do anything. And there's a lot of different meal prep
preps, yeah.
services that do the same. So you don't even have to take the time to cook, but just the preparation alone.
Yeah, and also talk to the restaurants you frequent
Yeah.
a lot. You know, I always talk to them and say, "Look, here's what I want. I want chicken breasts. I want sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Can you make that for me and give me a deal? I'll buy it every day." And usually they're really excited to do something like that. Yeah. So how about yourself, Jay? I know you got a lot of clients you work with, some executives that travel a lot. What about people on the go? So what's your recommendation for them?
For them, it's more about looking at the menu prior to going there, visiting the restaurants, so you know what you're getting into, or making special requests. A lot of those high-end places, I mean, they're cooking fancy food. They can, cook a chicken breast and a baked potato for you or whatever you need. But yeah, people on the go, you definitely have to be prepared. Find the protein supplement that works for you, that you like, that you can travel with. That's it's not going to go bad or spoil, like protein bars sometimes melt and whatnot. So you want to make sure that you travel with the right stuff. And again, just scope out where you're going to go, kind of get a game plan, do the best you can. That's all you can do sometimes. Continental breakfast, so they have eggs, they have healthy choices there, even in some of those hotels. So you can do it. It might not be exact, but you can come as close as you can. Stay in the bounds of things.
Yeah, some of the things I do on the road, because protein tends to be the hard thing. So I always bring my Power Cleanser, Super Shake, and Greens with my supplements. So I have an extra bag. That's why I like Southwest.
Yeah.
I can bring my bag of goodies with me and not get charged. And I'm gone for a few days, like I will be at the end of this month. We have the Wellness Weekend down in Sand Key outside of Clearwater Beach. We're going to do practice what we preach out the beach. Hopefully you guys can get to our next event down there. But I have tuna fish cans I take. And then I like the salmon in the packet, right? So I know at least I have some extra protein with my protein shake. So you can always grab. There's a store right across the street I go to right in Clearwater Beach, it's a little grocery store. So I grab some of the veggies, I put them in the fridge. I grab a couple of sweet potatoes. You can do it, and you'll be shocked because I went down there last time. I loaded up. It was like $70, right? And we went to lunch. It was 100 and something, right? So getting all my food for a few days was less than one lunch. So you can do it, folks. It does take a little prep like anything else, right? Simple, not always easy. So one last thing. So what do you do when I was reading this quote the other day, my friend sent me, and she says, you have to do it even when you don't feel your best. I says, oh, she's talking to me today. I woke up. I says, I'm sore. I'm tired. She goes, tired and lazy is about the same. I said, okay, I'm getting up now. So we text each other in the morning. She's a competitor. So what do you do when, maybe you're not feeling your best? What's something you do for extra motivation? Me, I'm texting people, or looking at pictures and stuff. How about yourself?
Yeah, Instagram.
Oh.
Some of these Olympians are pretty inspiring, but I mean, everybody has good and bad days, right? And if I'm having a bad day, or I had, when I was in prep, if I had like a day that maybe I overate a little bit of carbs and was really down on myself, really just not to give up and know that, like you said earlier to Jason, you don't want to make that bad hour, or that bad half a day, or that, you don't want to turn that into a day, 2 days a week, a month, and fall off the boat. And really just staying committed to know where your goal is, and watching that scale move or not move is like pretty damn inspiring.
Oh, I love it.
When I think about that, I think about just honor yourself. Think about all the commitments you make to everybody else in your life. And when you follow through with that, obviously you feel good about the commitments you made, the promises you kept, the things that you're doing for others. Do the same for yourself. So even if I don't feel good, or I don't want to do my cardio that day, or I don't want to go lift, or I don't not want to eat that donut. At the end of the day, whenever you reflect on what you've done, are you going to be happy with the choices that you make? And you have a new day each day to be able to reflect on that and to see what you did. So even if maybe you failed what your commitment to yourself was the day prior, you still have the next day to be able to jump on board and to be able to do that. So honor yourself with the commitments.
I love it. I hear Jim Mannion in my head. He says, James, the cost is still the same. I said, what? He says, pain. He says, pain of discipline or regret.
Yeah.
I said, oh, man, Jim, you got a lot of wisdom. You're speaking to me today. Yeah, I think you got to have that, that negative self-talk can be really damaging. Yeah. So I've been working with my coach on that a lot, because she says those words, right, they become thoughts and they become actions to your subconscious, because the subconscious doesn't know if it's true or not. Mm-hmm. So if you say, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I'm fat, I'm this, then your body will follow that action. So really good points. How about yourself? We got a couple of minutes here left. How do you keep the motive? I mean, this guy's, how many appointments a week you doing?
Man, we're doing a bunch. But I was a big Rocky fan growing up. So I always hear that Apollo Creed in my head. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. So, some days are going to be better than others, but it's going in there, grinding it out, doing it when you don't feel like you have it, given what you got that day. That'll bridge the gap to the next one. And then the next one's even better. You kind of remember the one, okay, I didn't get it that day, so I'm going to be better the next time, as opposed to just throwing your hands up and quitting.
Yeah, I found that after all these years, over 40 years of some type of training, that the secret is consistency.
Right.
Right, because some of the days I don't feel that good. I go in there and I have my best workouts.
Right.
I was in there a couple weeks ago. I felt great. I just walked for about half hour, and I didn't feel that good. So I just walked that day for an hour. Went outside, got some fresh air. I don't know what was going on. So you got to feel your body, but also you got to push through some of those barriers. So I appreciate it so much. We have our fitness experts at World of Wellness. We're live at the Wine and Wellness Week. We're here till 4 p.m. today. I want to thank my fitness experts for being so generous with all their knowledge and wisdom. So one last thing is, how do people get a hold of you, Jason?
You can give me a call at 412-298-7595 or go to jasonparee.com.
And how about yourself, Heather? I know you got some social media accounts. All your fans can follow you as you prepare. We're not sure the date yet.
Yeah.
But it's coming soon. How do they get a hold of you or follow you?
So on Instagram, I think it's hsouthern10. I think the same on Facebook as well. I post most of anything with the bodybuilding on Instagram, so you can definitely follow me there.
Oh, cool. We look forward to it. Thanks.
Yeah,
And how
my-
about yourself, Marcia?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram's a lot of kids, but that'll change when I
that
get back
really
in.
a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
kids?
a lot of my kiddos. But it's Marcia_Idol, ITLE_O'Connor, OCONNOR.
Well, I appreciate it so much, folks. You're really doing a great job today helping us make the world healthy, and we really appreciate you coming out and look forward to growing with you guys together. So we are live here last day at the World of Wellness. Come on down. If you can't make it for any reason, you can always call the office during the next week or so, 412-922-WELL. That's 412-922-9355. And check us out at wowpgh.com. Thanks for all the support as we are on the mission to make the world healthy. We appreciate it, and God bless. That was awesome. How about a couple of quick questions? Then we get these guys out.